Okay, let's just dive right into this. Have you ever felt like, I don't know, you're literally mashing the gas pedal to the floor, but the parking brake is firmly set? You've got the ambition, you've definitely got the work ethic, but there is this invisible thing holding you back. Well, in today's explainer, we're unpacking the social debt audit. And the core premise we're looking at is honestly kind of startling, but it makes so much sense. Your ambition isn't the problem. The invisible gravity of your immediate network is. So here's the big question. Is your social circle quietly keeping you poor? And hey, I don't just mean financially poor, although let's be real, that's absolutely a factor. I mean poor in energy, poor in focus, and poor in opportunity. For ambitious high performers, a stagnant network acts as this stealth drain. You might be working incredibly hard, yet you feel completely stuck in the mud. So let's talk about exactly why that happens.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the social debt trap. Then we'll look at the proximity trap cost. After that, we're auditing your inner circle. And finally, liquidating your social debt.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the social debt trap, the stealth drain on your ambition.
So what exactly is social debt? Well, think of it as the invisible tax you pay through unreciprocated energy and stagnant mindsets. If you're a high performer in 2026 and you feel like you're falling behind, the source material argues it is almost never due to a lack of skill or drive. Nope, you're just paying a hidden tax. You are caught up in the gravitational pull of an immediate network that, quite frankly, demands your energy but gives absolutely zero back.
Look, we all face this tension, right? There is the comfort of old connections. It's like that friend you just quote old movies with from a decade ago. It feels cozy, it feels safe. But then there's the silent cost of missed opportunities and diluted focus. When you hold on to dead weight just because it's super familiar, you are paying a massive opportunity cost. The comfort of the status quo is literally stealing focus right out of your future.
Let's slow down for a second and actually look at what this costs you every single day. The sources call this the overhead of the status quo. First off, we've got these algorithmic echo chambers in our social feeds that are literally reinforcing mediocre habits within friend groups. It creates this endless feedback loop of stagnation. But you know what the truly exhausting part is? The high financial and especially the emotional overhead. Seriously, have you ever gone out to a dinner party and felt like you had to perform a version of yourself from 5 years ago just to keep everybody else comfortable? That emotional performance, it is draining the ambition right out of you. Moving on to Section 2, the proximity trap cost, how proximity dictates market value. The absolutely crucial point here is this scientifically backed phenomenon called emotional contagion. Get this, a pessimistic network literally rewires your brain's risk assessment. Just think about that for a second. If you are constantly surrounded by people who fear change, who complain nonstop, who shoot down new ideas, their pessimism physically infects your neural pathways. Their specific behaviors act as a hard ceiling on your professional growth because they make you perceive risk where there is actually massive opportunity.
This right here is the hidden debt in action. Saying yes to low-value social obligations is exactly the same as saying no to life-changing deep work. Every single time you agree to, an aimless 3-hour brunch with a stagnant friend group, you are actively rejecting the focused time that could elevate your career. It's a brutal dichotomy, for sure, but acknowledging it is the very first step toward reclaiming your time.
Okay, let's get into the fix. Section 3, auditing your inner circle. The 2026 framework.
I want you to imagine your network sliced up like a pie into 3 brutal but entirely necessary categories. First up, fuel. These are the connections who energize you, inspire you, and actively push you to be better. Second, you have friction. These are the people who require excessive maintenance, or they're just constantly challenging your boundaries. And finally, dead weight. These are relationships that are entirely unreciprocated and just pull you straight down. To successfully audit your circle, you have to honestly categorize everyone taking up space on your calendar into one of these 3 slices.
Now, you have to evaluate a really profound difference here. The difference between loyal, long-term friends who genuinely support your growth versus people who are simply familiar faces from a past version of your life. Listen, just because you share history with someone does not automatically mean they belong in your future. And moving from the cold, hard logic of this audit to practically restructuring things, it doesn't mean you have to dramatically burn bridges. Actually, scratch that. It's more like gracefully adjusting your accessibility to the folks who just no longer fit.
Which brings us to Section 4, liquidating your social debt, reclaiming your future.
Okay, so here is the exact step-by-step procedure for liquidating that debt.
Step 1, set firm boundaries. You literally have to stop saying yes by default. Step 2, endure temporary loneliness. Look, when you pull back from the dead weight and the friction, there's going to be a void. That's natural. And step 3, pivot to high-leverage networks. The whole shebang, the ultimate goal of this entire audit, is to reallocate your newly freed up time toward networks that actively challenge your current limitations. You want to deliberately place yourself in rooms where you actually have room to grow.
I really want to spend a moment here, because this is the exact spot where most people retreat. The temporary loneliness of the growth phase is a necessary investment for a debt-free social life. We really have to normalize this lonely phase of growth. It is not a punishment for setting boundaries, okay? It's a high-yield investment. Think about it. When you liquidate bad financial investments, your account looks a little empty before you can reinvest that capital into something way better. The exact same rule applies to your social life. Embrace the quiet.
Let's wrap this up with an incredibly powerful vision from our source material. Quote, build a high-leverage circle that compounds your success rather than subtracting from your potential. So, the absolute most crucial question to ask yourself today as we conclude this explainer is this. Look closely at your text messages and your calendar from the last week. Who in your circle is actively compounding your success right now, and who is quietly collecting the invisible tax on your ambition?